This episode of the Irish Dance Podcast is being brought to you by Dunleavy Boyle Bremer Academy, inviting you to the New England Autumn Feis and Grade Exams, September 22nd and 23rd in Boston. This two-day event features grade exams up to grade 12, music competitions, an Irish soda bread bake-off, a second chance prelim competition, a charity dance-off with proceeds to benefit the Fighting Sullivans, a charity dedicated to Claire Sullivan TCRG's battle with cancer, and of course a North American Feis Commission approved championship. This is the 8th annual Feis, featuring a diverse panel of adjudicators, renowned musicians and competitors from all over the Irish dancing world. Dunleavy Boyle Bremer Academy looks forward to seeing you in beautiful New England this September. For more information, please go to southshoreIrishdance.com. My name is Martin Percival, and you are listening to the Irish Dance Podcast. Folk dance to phenomenon and beyond. Hi everyone, I'd like to introduce today's guest. She's an Irish dancer, a teacher, a performer. She was a principal with Riverdance. She's now a camp director, and she's just generally a wonderful person. Please welcome Cara Casey.
Oh, thank you. That was such a nice intro.
I should have said Cara Casey-O'Loughlin. I'm very sorry.
That's okay.
With the married name.
Yeah.
You know, we Irish dancers always go by the maiden name.
Yeah,
so,
not a problem.
We'll get to that with your wonderful husband and your school and all of that in a minute. But do you want to just start, if you don't mind, about how you got involved in Irish dance in the first place?
Sure. So my father is a corkman. So when I was a kid, we used to go to the Irish Cultural Centre in Calgary, and he would play Irish music, and we would see some of the local Irish dancers dancing. And basically, from the minute I saw it, I wanted to be involved. So I started at age 4 with Sally Houston, and I danced right up until I got accepted to Riverdance at 17.
And you had a fairly successful competitive career, right?
Yeah. I was the Western Canadian Oireachtas champion for many years, and I placed in the top 3 in North America. And then my last year, I came 3rd at the All-Ireland, so that was very exciting for me. Yeah,
absolutely. And great training. I know the Houstons very well, and they're a fabulous school.
They are, yeah.
So when you went to competition, then what was did you? Because your brother danced as well, right?
Yeah, my younger brother Colin danced as well with Sally, and yeah, so I danced from 4 till 17, and Colin started a little bit later, but he finished around 18, I think. So yeah, it was a family thing. Family
affair, absolutely.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy competition? What was competition like for you?
I really loved it. I'm a really competitive person, and I know it sounds crazy, but I really, really enjoyed competition. I never got nervous. I really liked being put under pressure and put into those high stress. Kind of got excited by it. So my brother was not the same. He hated it.
Yeah, you're a born superstar. Absolutely.
No.
But did you find, just from the whole perspective of, it was a little while ago that you were in competition, do you find it, a lot different than today's competition?
Yes and no. I think that it's still very competitive, and probably even more so. But I also think that dancers these days take it a lot more seriously. I feel like back when we competed, we took it seriously, but we didn't kind of pursue the same kind of training that dancers do these days in terms of their diet and their cross training and the mental preparation, which is quite interesting. But I also think that sometimes it can get a little bit intense, especially when we're talking about children. So I think finding the balance is key. And I've learned that a lot more now being a teacher on the other side of things, about trying to find that balance of making dancers successful competitively, but also trying to encourage them to have realistic expectations and not only focus on results in Irish dancing, because I think Irish dancing brings so much more to the table than just the competitive aspect.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with you. I had a conversation recently about, whether or not we're doing a disservice to the dancers by just focusing on competition, and I think sometimes we are, but it's just the way we've kind of always done things. I do find it really intense, the competition scene right now, and it's just like never ending.
Yes. Yeah.
But God love them. So how was your Riverdance days? How long did you do the show for?
I toured with Riverdance for about 3 years, and then a little bit after through the Flying Squad. So that was always a big goal of mine. I mean, Eurovision came out when I was 9 years old, and we got the VHS sent over from the relatives in Ireland. And the minute I saw it, I thought, oh my gosh, this is something I want to be involved in. And so that was probably one of my greatest achievements for me personally, was getting into Riverdance. That was so special for me. So yeah, I had an amazing opportunity. I was mostly in the North American touring company. So I did that for 2.5 years, which is actually where I met my husband, Mark O'Loughlin, and the rest is history. So
yes, I was in the troupe when Mark was there. It was before your time. I was I got out. I'm too old. I was too old, but yeah. So how it's one of the. There's quite a few couples to have come out of the whole show experience, which is lovely. But how do you find that, being married to another Irish dance performer and teacher?
Yeah, it's funny because when I went into Riverdance, I said, I'm never going to meet a guy in the show. And I left my high school boyfriend and said, see you maybe again, maybe not, I don't know. And never thinking that I would end up meeting my future husband 15 years later, it's having 2 kids and a dance school and now a dance camp. I never thought that would be the result of it, but here we are.
Absolutely. How did it all come about? Was it you chasing him or him chasing you?
No, he pursued me pretty relentlessly.
Yeah.
I was just focused. I was new in the show and I wanted to make a really good impression and work my hardest, and I didn't want to get distracted by boys or anything. I just wanted to put my best foot forward, but he just kept asking me on dates and bringing me coffees and doing nice little things like that. And
he's a sweetheart. Does he still do that now?
He does, yeah. He's a pretty thoughtful guy. Yeah,
he's a good boy. Yeah,
he's a catch. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So 3 years with Riverdance, that was a great experience, and you got to be one of the lead dancers, right?
Yeah, a year into being a troupe dancer, they asked me to start training in for the lead. So that was awesome.
So then we get, you took your teachers, obviously, and you've started a school with Mark in Calgary. How is that going?
Yeah, it's going really well. Initially, actually, Mark didn't want to be involved in Irish dancing at all. He wasn't quite sure he wanted to be teaching Irish dancing just because of his family background. He came from the world-renowned Griffin Roddy O'Loughlin dance school, so they had numerous world championships in Cayleys and solos. So he just wasn't sure he wanted to be a part of the family business again, I guess. And I wasn't actually sure either. I was just starting my journalism degree and I just needed a little bit of cash on the side, and I was working as a barista and I thought there's got to be a better way to make some money. So I just started a little recreational class just with the intention of just doing recreational Irish dance. I wasn't kind of ready to even think about getting my TCRG or anything at that point. But then, of course, you have a few good little dancers that come up and you think, oh, I got to take these kids to a competition.
Right. Yeah. You get hooked.
You do. So anyway, and then Mark got hooked too. he would come into cover for me, and these little guys would be so excited to see him, and you know how it is.
I do. But it's great. It's I don't know. I feel like once it's in the blood, it's in the blood, and it has to finds its way to us eventually anyway. Yes. So, let's talk a little bit about your journalism degree. I'm fascinated to know all about that.
Yeah, sure. So I have a Bachelor's of Communications, majoring in journalism. So when I have some time here in Calgary, I'm a freelance writer. So I write articles for the local paper and also a lifestyle magazine here. And I'm also a contractor for the city of Calgary within their internal ad agency. So I do a lot of copywriting and marketing material and things like that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I bet that keeps you busy. My goodness, how many strings to your bow,
yes.
Or whatever the expression
fingers,
is.
Many fingers and many pots. Yeah.
No, that's fantastic. So clearly you love that. You love that work as well. And so, but how do you tie it all together with the teaching and all of that?
Late at night. After my children are in bed, usually. I've had to definitely take on less writing jobs the last couple years just because I have two small kids. But I take on the interesting things that I want to do, which is so nice. Being a freelancer, I get to sort of pick and choose. Or if there's something that really interests me, I can pitch to a magazine and say, hey, I really want to write a story about this. Will you pay me to do that? So it's pretty nice that I can sort of take on the work that I can take on.
Yeah, no, that sounds great. Have you ever written about Irish dance?
I haven't, funnily enough.
Oh, really? Yeah, you seem uniquely qualified to. So.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll have to rectify that shortly.
You never know.
I know, it's probably too close to home, isn't it? You're like, I don't want to write about this.
Well, I know that's the funny thing about writing articles about other things is it's kind of a nice break because I see a lot of Irish dancing in my house. So, between having my business partner and husband, us working together, and now having our new dance camp, there's a lot of Irish dance. So it's sort of nice to take a breath outside of it. Yeah,
I can well imagine, actually. Are there other girls dancing?
Not yet. Molly's going to start. She's just turning 4 this week. So she's going to start in September. So we'll see. But we're not going to push them. I mean, if they
No. You won't be pushy parents yet.
Yes. We won't get the whip out yet, no.
Exactly. So then let's talk about the Reel in the Rockies, the summer camp that you have up there. Just tell me as much as you can about the whole thing, because I think it's absolutely brilliant.
Oh, thank you. So back in 2014, I was thinking about just our school and somehow doing some kind of summer camp that wasn't just about competitive Irish dancing, that would have a fun aspect to it, that would just allow kids to kind of kick back a little bit and explore other things. And I was thinking, like, in the landscape that we live in, I mean, we're an hour from Banff National Park. We're so close to the Rocky Mountains. I thought, there's got to be a venue that we could pursue doing some kind of dance camp that would allow the kids to do some Irish dancing classes for sure, but also kind of have that traditional summer camp experience. So I started kind of looking around, seeing what venues were out there. But as you would expect, they're all full for the summer. There's different church camps. There's kind of outdoor camps that already operate, and they run 12 weeks for the whole summer. So that was kind of tricky. But then just by luck, I found this camp that was traditionally operated by a church group, and they just couldn't fill all the weeks that they used to, and they had a week free. So we went up to tour this facility, which is the Goldeye Center, which is located in Nordegg, Alberta, which is about 3.5 hours drive from Calgary or Edmonton. And we just were blown away. It's absolutely spectacular facility. And then with the facility, they have these highly skilled activity instructors that take the kids hiking, take them canoeing, do zip lining and all these amazing outdoor activities. We just couldn't even believe that we got so lucky.
Yeah, that is like a real stroke of good luck. Fantastic. Yeah. It seems like it was meant to be. That is absolutely.
Yeah. So we did our first year in 2016, and we just completed our third year on Friday.
Yes, I saw some of the Facebook posts. You had quite the storm up there this year, right?
Yeah, that's the thing with mountain weather. Like, it's usually gorgeous and sunny and lovely, and then it gets a little bit chilly at night. Saying that, we do glamp, not camp. So
of course,
log cabins. Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. We have like log cabins with heat and things. The kids aren't intense or anything, so it's not like we're out in the elements. But we had this freak hailstorm that all of a sudden just came in, and there was like golf ball size hail for about 20 minutes. And then within 12 hours, it was like almost 30 degrees again.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. But I bet the kids loved it.
Oh, they did. They thought it was just probably the best part of their trip, actually.
So along with Irish dancing, they're doing all these wonderful activities, which I actually think is absolutely brilliant. I know when I was a kid, I went on one summer camp and I hated it. But if it was a pure Irish dance camp, I would have loved it.
Yeah.
But so, what do you offer in terms of the Irish dance part of the camp?
Yeah. So our dancers that come are between ages 8 and 17, and they range from beginner dancers right up to top 5 in North America world medal holder dancers. So we really have a great spread of dancers, and they're grouped into different dance groups by their age and their dance level. And then they rotate through the day. So they'll do, for example, a dance class in the morning. And then after that, they'll go and do an outdoor activity, which could be archery. It could be rock climbing. It could be the high ropes course, something like that. Then we have lunch. Then it repeats again in the afternoon, another dance class, another outdoor activity. And then they have about a 45-minute, hour-long session with their counselors, of which they come up with their end-of-the-week showcase. So the counselors choreograph a little piece that they get to do, which you can see on our Facebook or our Instagram page, which is pretty amazing that they only do this in about 4 hours. Wow. So the kids get to do that, which is more creative, a little less drills and things focused. Saying that, we had Tyler Schwartz this year as an instructor, and he's kind of separated from the competitive Irish dance world. And he did a lot of tricks and different show classes, different rhythms, and all kinds of interesting add-ons to traditionally competitive Irish dance, if that makes sense. So
yeah.
There was kind of something for everyone. And we have kids that are on their third year of coming to camp, and they still had lots of interesting, new, different things that they could do. So we're pretty proud of the programming that we've put together. And then also in the evenings, the kids get to choose what they want to do. So if they're really serious and they want to do another Irish dance class, they can. Or if they just want to go do wet and wild kickball out in the field or do fesh makeup, they can do whatever they like. So
yeah, that sounds absolutely fantastic. And so how many attendees do you accept every year?
We can accept between 85 and 100, and we've had about 62 and around the 60 mark the last few years. So
okay, so you have room to grow a little bit.
We do, yeah.
That's fantastic. The whole thing just sounds absolutely magical to me. You know, just to be up in the mountains and to have all of these activities and get to spend time with other Irish dancers, different teachers, different choreographers. What an experience for the students to have. I think that's absolutely amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, it's really our passion project. It's something that we kind of stumbled into as just an idea. And now when we see how it's translating and we're seeing the growth in our campers, it's amazing. Some of our 3-year campers, they came year 1. They didn't really want to participate in the swim test. They weren't sure about going on the high ropes. They sort of were a little bit more reserved and quiet. And then we see them year 3 climbing to the top of the static course, which is like 40 feet above. They're absolutely smashing the swim test. Their personalities are just totally out, and it's just really inspiring to see.
Yeah, that is absolutely beautiful, because I do feel like, even though as Irish dancers that we're all performers, I do feel like, I'll speak for myself, that I was quite reserved and quite shy as a child. So I just think that something like that probably would have, especially being around other Irish dancers, because they're your peer group, so you can, just all experience it together. I just think that's amazing.
Yeah. And the other thing that's really cool is that we see it regionally now, that we have dancers that come from all different schools and they make friends. And then at the Fesh, you don't see that sort of dance schools only sitting with each other and the kids not really speaking. We have this total cross mixing of all these kids who've hung out at Reels in the Rockies, and they're all buddies and they're all wishing each other good luck, even though they're fierce competitors. So it's pretty neat. And we even actually have had campers from Mexico and Qatar. We have kids that come up from the Pacific Northwest, and we even have some dancers from Chicago and places like that are coming now. So it's pretty neat that these kids are forming these bonds and these friendships with kids that they wouldn't necessarily get to do that. So
and that's what I find. I'm sure you find really rewarding. When I was dancing, it was a lot about the community and about the friends that you made, and then of course when we all did the shows, that opened up huge friendship opportunities across the Irish dance community. And I just think that the more we can do of this community-based stuff, the better. I think it's wonderful. Do you have any music stuff going on up there as well?
We don't. No, not at this time. But we're still really new, so we're kind of playing around with things that are working. And I think it's absolutely brilliant that you're doing it. And just so the listeners know, you have open status with CLRG, right? We do. We have open dance champ status, meaning that no one will be associated. We follow all the rules. So any CLRG dancer can attend with no risk of association or anything like that. So
what about teachers?
Are you going to come next
year? Yeah.
I have a bunk for you, Martin.
No, brilliant. I actually think that wouldn't, I think perhaps we should, as teachers, we might think about doing our own camp, when we can all just get together and collaborate a bit and just talk, outside of the confines of the association rules. Do you know what I mean? If we're all just together and talking about Irish dance and enjoying the mountains, that would be lovely.
Hey, let's make it happen.
Yeah, there you go. Always thinking, right? Yeah. Entrepreneurs at heart. And
I also think that things outside of competition encourage kids to keep going who might not have had the best competitive year. I know, I speak from experience that we've had parents email and they've said, my kid didn't do as well at competition this year as they had hoped. And I kind of persuaded them to let's just go to camp and try something else. And the parents will email me and say, I cannot believe the change that I've seen in my child, and that her self-esteem is through the roof and her anxiety is gone, and she's so excited about her dance year. So I think it's a good thing for everyone if we can try and find these opportunities. I think it's good for all dance teachers because it's going to keep kids coming to dance class. If maybe they're not a superstar Irish dancer winning all the medals and trophies, if they have something else to look forward to that isn't maybe the world or the North Americans, but maybe a summer camp or a different kind of opportunity that can make them feel special and something to look forward to, it's not a bad thing.
No, I completely agree. And speaking to that, I do think most dancers need to have a break from dancing. So going up and doing a camp like that, they're still keeping their skills up while at the same time having a lot of fun. But we do need to speak to the teachers, to all teachers, right? Because this isn't like, we just want them to know this is not a bad thing for their dancers to do. So I know that.
Yeah, and we have a lot of teachers that really support us, and we're so grateful, especially being new the first year. I mean, a lot of teachers took a risk on us, and we were so grateful that they did. And we just are open to any questions that people have too, I think people sometimes are wary of the unknown.
Yes, of course, absolutely. What we don't know, and then not knowing you as a teacher or what have you, they're wondering what's up. But it is, which is why it's great that we can have you on the podcast to talk about it, because it is, like you said, a passion project for you. And I think it's an amazing opportunity for dancers to get out there and try, just be around their peers, but also enjoy themselves and build all those friendships. I think you're doing something that's going to leave a mark on these children's lives for a long, long time. So I'm very proud of both of you for doing it.
Oh, thank you. That's a big compliment. So that's what we're trying to do. So
yeah, no, absolutely.
That means a lot.
But it's just, I talk about it all the time about how we have so many talented people involved in the Irish dance community, and we need to give as many opportunities to the dancers as possible. And this is just another beautiful opportunity for the dancers to have. But where do you see it going? How, obviously I would imagine you're committed to doing this for a few years to come.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much a Western Canadian attended camp right now, because I think that a lot of Americans in particular get a little bit nervous coming to Canada. It's just sort of this unknown, and a lot
you
of
crazy Canadians. Yeah.
I know. They think we live in England and it's just freezing cold all the time. But saying that, we do have kids from Eastern Canada and the Pacific Northwest and other places, as I mentioned, but we're just hoping that we can bring up some more kids from the States and get some more dancers from outside of Western Canada in the future.
Yeah, it's more overseas. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be fantastic to get dancers from Germany or England or wherever that would like to come. That would make it even more special.
Yeah.
So we're hoping that, to expand. And then obviously with expansion, we can bring in more instructors from different places. I mean, this year we had a spectacular teaching team. We had, as I mentioned, Tyler Schwartz, and we had Kelly Stevens from Birmingham from the Carey Academy. We had Cody Shields, who's a former world champion and now just starting off her teaching career. So we're pretty lucky to have these very talented people working with the kids. And they're not just talented Irish dancers, they're talented teachers, they're talented people who have the emotional intelligence to bring out the best parts of these kids, to see where they might have some hesitations and find solutions to try and make the kids feel that they're doing their best. And so to see that just from a facilitation point of view is also really special. It makes me proud to have these people working alongside us and wanting to come and do this with us.
Yeah, it sounds like an absolutely amazing program. What is the ratio then of instructors to or counselors to students?
So the counselors are from all over as well, and they're dancers who sometimes have a little bit of teaching experience within their own classes. Right. But this year they're from all over Canada. We're looking at getting a counselor visa for next year so we could have American counselors. So that's exciting that we might be able to expand that. But they work, it's about one counselor to about 8 to 10 dancers. And they work together with their groups and take them around to the different activities and then stay with them in the bunks in the evening. And then also with their dance groups, they, as I mentioned, do the choreography piece for the end of week showcase.
Right. And that's absolutely brilliant. I'm sure there's some amazing bonding going on with all the groups. What is the end of week showcase like? Are all parents and siblings invited?
Yeah, so before the pickup on the last morning, we just do a show to the parents of just everything we've been working on, and just sort of like a final way to celebrate. And then the night before, actually, the parents come, we do a little run through, and then we have a disco party. So we go and have a dance and wear glow sticks and hang out too, which is pretty fun.
No, that is fun. That's really fun. Well, this just sounds like an amazing opportunity for the dancers. When do you open registration for next year?
So we will open registration as soon as we receive our 2019 Open Dance Camp status from CLRG again. So we put in that application in August, and then the on-commission meeting is the beginning of September. So we usually hear in September.
Okay.
But we can definitely put people on the waiting list right now so that they don't miss a spot, because I'm hoping with all this wonderful promo, we'll have more kids this year.
Absolutely. So if parents and students are interested, where do they go?
So our website is reelsintherockies.com. And you can also check us out on Facebook and Instagram. And we also have a Snapchat account. We were lucky enough to take over Irish Dance Magazine's Instagram story this summer. So we're around in a lot of different social media channels if you just look for Reels in the Rockies. Reels in the Rockies. Perfect. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Well, thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk about it.
No, I truly believe that the more opportunities we have for the dancers, the better, right? It's what we're supposed to be doing is broadening the horizons for our dancers. So is there any specific performance? I know you said that with Tyler, he comes from the kind of the show world now, and he was doing some tricks and that kind of thing. Do you focus on any performance qualities?
Yeah, absolutely. We are very dancer-led. So at the beginning of the week, a lot of the instructors speak with the different dance groups about what they're hoping to achieve out of the camp. So for example, a lot of the beginner dancers, they're just working on strengthening their hard shoes. They're working on their trebles. They're working on getting more confidence. And so that's a lot of the work that instructors do for that, or getting higher on toes and soft shoes, just sort of the basic technical skills to get to the next level as a beginner Irish dancer. But saying that, our top level older teenage group, they sometimes want to do lots of drills where they're working on competitive things like that, or overs, or working on arching, things like that. But then they might say, but for this class, can we work on show steps? Or can you teach us a piece of Riverdance that you used to do? Or can you teach us an interesting treble reel, or things like that? So it's sort of group led based on what they're hoping to bring out of the camp.
Right. No, that sounds great. And are they, in terms of the choreography then, if they're taught a treble reel, for example, are they allowed to then use it? Or obviously with the permission of their teacher?
Yeah, so we basically say to all of the campers that what your teacher says is number one. So this is just a side, and that if your teacher says to do something this way, then you have to do it that way. This is just another piece. I mean, I can say that the instructors that do our camp, when they're doing drills, they're working on things that are known across the board in Irish dancing that you have to do. Like turnout, keeping crossed, arching, things like that. They're not trying to change the styles of dancers. They don't take one look at their competitive material. We do not do competitive steps. We don't do set dances or anything like that.
Right.
And that's also a part of us maintaining our open dance camp status.
Right.
So again, it's not really supposed to be about that. It's just about learning new things and growing and pushing yourself, and hopefully coming out of it with a sense of growth, but not necessarily to try and be a world champion or.
No, absolutely. No. I just think, when I was teaching, I really just liked to try and see if I could make the best dancer out of that person as possible, So there's very different levels of success when you're talking in terms of what you can get from a dancer, but just having all of that, just opening their mind really to different styles and different teaching techniques and just all of this other wonderful stuff that they get to do, all of the hiking and all of that stuff. Just absolutely amazing. Absolutely brilliant.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's a pretty special week. So
yeah, I can well imagine. So then, do you think that because I talk a lot on the podcast about, as Irish dancers, that we gain a lot of transferable skills from being taught Irish dance. You know, when we go out into the world, we have, you know, obviously some self-esteem, and we have some confidence, and we can get up in front of people and this, that, and the other. And then when we become teachers, we can, you know, we have event management and this kind of thing. This camp, I would imagine, just only expands on those skills that the dancers are already learning, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have a chat at the beginning of the week and say, like, nobody has to do anything that they don't feel comfortable doing. But we hope that you will push yourself and get out of your comfort zone and kind of prove to yourself that you can do something that maybe at the beginning of the week you might have thought that you couldn't. And we see that constantly. We see a kid who is on the static high ropes course who thinks, oh my gosh, I cannot believe I'm up here. And then we'll see the activity instructor say, you know what, how about you just walk this rope? Just go from here to here. And then they do it. And then they think, okay, now I'm going to just go from here to here. And then by the end, they're zip lining off the top and they're just ecstatic. And I hope that when they go back into the competitive Irish dance world, when they walk up on a world stage for the first time, that they can use that philosophy to say, I just have to do my treble jig start to finish.
Yeah.
I just have to take from one step to the next step. And I know that I can do it because I've pushed myself and I've got out of my comfort zone at camp. So I have the ability inside of me to take that leap.
Yeah, so that's beautiful. That's really beautiful. Thank you for that. I just, anything we can do to give some confidence to the dancers and ways so that it's easier for them to express themselves, I think is just amazing. So kudos to you for all of that you do. I think is absolutely brilliant. But can we talk about competition then? I'm going to pick your brain as a teacher okay. now, and just get on to, usually I ask podcast guests about how they feel about the current Irish dance climate and where they think it's going. So I will ask you the same question. Okay. Well, big question, right?
Yeah. I guess I am amazed at the physical aspect of Irish dancing. Like when I think back to my competitive days and I look at the kind of material and the athleticism that 9-year-olds are doing, it is really inspiring, but also cautionary, I would say. I think it's amazing, and I can't believe how talented and smart and musical these little people are. Actually, I can, because kids continually show me how amazing they are, and that's how I stay in the Irish dance world, because children inspire me. And even though competition is so subjective and things, it's the kids that keep me involved in this. But I think that, this is a hard question. I think that Irish dancing creates children who are goal-oriented. They are able to create sort of a pathway for their success and work towards it. And I also think that they learn a lot by losing and winning and participating and supporting their fellow dancers. And so I think there is a lot of amazing life skills that they take out of it. But yeah, the intensity of competitive Irish dance right now is, I think, different to what we've ever seen. But I also am a teacher, and now I'm newly an adjudicator. And so I'm kind of trying to find my own take, I guess, on where we're at, because I'm trying to produce dancers who are competitive internationally, who can be world medal holders, and also Kaylee's as well. So it's kind of the game we're in, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Has your teaching changed since passing your adjudicators?
I think so. I think that when I'm now watching dancers at a fesh and they do something really right, I go, oh, okay, that was really nice on that dancer with that style. So I might I think I've looked at pulling out the pieces of my own dancers that they do really well and really showing them off. And then also absolutely getting rid of the pieces that they don't do very well, just in case in that one little moment, an adjudicator looks over, it's kind of a game over thing. So I think from a choreography standpoint and from a material standpoint, that's changed.
Yeah.
But I also think that kids, they're just kids. And it's one of those things when you have a superstar little dancer in your class who brings you in a card and you see the little handwriting and the picture that they've drawn on this card, and you think, oh my goodness, you're just a tiny little baby.
Yeah.
And yet you're second at North Americans, or you're, recalling at a world, and you think, but you're just so little. We just forget because you're so talented.
Right.
So
right.
I think most people in Irish dancing, they're involved because they love children. And I think most ADs want children to be successful. When you watch kids, you just want them to be happy and enjoying what they're doing. And as a teacher, I feel that way too. I just think, if you're not happy, then what are we doing here?
Right.
Like, this has to be a joy for you. This can't be something that you absolutely dread, because that just doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't. I completely agree with you. As an adjudicator myself, we root for dancers. We all want them to do the best that they possibly can as soon as they come up on stage. So, it's sometimes heartbreaking to be as, kind of have a lot of critique and criticism for dancers, but it's because we want to see them succeed as much as possible. So if you here's a big question. If you could rule the Irish dance world for a day, what would you change and what would you keep?
Oh, well, I would not choose to rule.
No, you can't answer
got
like
enough
that.
Going on. Oh dear. I would keep competition, because my experience in teaching recreational dance is that the drive in children isn't there. And as I mentioned before, I'm a competitive person. I like the idea of competition. I like pushing yourself personally to give the best performance, and having a bit of pressure and having that opportunity, because I think life is competitive. I think you're not always going to get the job. You're not always going to get into that university. You're not always going to have everything unfold in front of you perfectly. And I think Irish dancing does teach that you're not always going to be successful, and that there's a level of effort required. So I like the competitive aspect of Irish dancing. If I could change something, I think that the pageantry of Irish dancing is getting to be scary. I think that there's some beautiful kids in Irish dancing who look very well put together and look lovely, but there is just a lot of tan and a lot of absolutely massive bun wigs lately. And, and I'm just wondering, if you were a regular person that came off the street and you walked into one of our events, that you might not give it the same kind of appreciation of the talent of the children and how spectacular what they're doing with their bodies is, because you might be distracted by all the other stuff going on. So
Yeah.
That's all I would say. I mean, but saying that, as an adjudicator, it's easier to, pick all the kids apart when they have different looks and things. So I understand why we are where we are, because if every kid had straight hair and a black bodysuit and there was a competition of 180 girls, I mean, that would be...
Yeah, they'd just be boring to judge. Yeah.
It'd be boring. So I understand why we're here, but I do think sometimes it's just a little bit much.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's any actual, concrete answer to any of it. And I just think it'll evolve the way it's going to evolve. But a lot of conversations on this podcast have revolved around, us creating our own narrative as an organization and as a community around what we do. And I think because we're so exclusionary to a point, because we don't film a lot of what we do, that the rest of the world doesn't get to see the huge amounts of talent that come into our competitions,
Yeah, and that's some of the problem that I've had with Irish Central's post. I know they've done a lot of posts about, Irish dancing and pageantry, and I don't disagree with them, but I do think that the focus gets lost of our community and what we're actually trying to do, which is teach young children and inspire them to be their best and give them an outlet for their creativity and good exercise and friendships and all these wonderful things that people who are involved in Irish dancing understand.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, of course, and there's plenty of drama as well. So I think it would actually translate quite well to television, or anyway, that's just my personal thought on the whole thing, is that we should be kind of setting the parameters around the narrative that we present to the rest of the world around it, because we're very good at presenting it to ourselves. So I think it might be beneficial for us all as a community to let the world in and so they can recognize how much work all these teachers do and how much the work the dancers do and everything, so as teachers certainly aren't becoming millionaires from doing this.
Yeah, no, I totally understand. I think people are probably nervous though when they see shows like Dance Moms and stuff, that they just don't want to be turned into a circus.
Yeah, and it could quite easily in the wrong hands, exactly. Yes, which is why I think it needs to come from within the community.
Yes.
So.
Well, if there's any documentary filmmakers listening,
exactly. Maybe you and I can present it, Cara.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, love it. Okay, so now we need to move on to the rapid fire questions. Hang on a sec. I need to get my sheet. I haven't got it. Hang on. Okay, so this is Cara Casey in a nutshell. What is your favourite food?
Indian.
Oh, mine too. Riverdance or Lord of the Dance?
Riverdance.
Best piece of advice you've ever been given?
Sometimes in our pursuit of happiness, we just need to stop and be happy.
Oh, that's fantastic. Where did you get that from?
I can't remember. It's not my quote, but I read it somewhere and I hold it close.
Absolutely. Is there a book that has changed your life?
Ooh. I am currently reading The Conscious Parent, which is changing my life right now.
Oh, I can well imagine.
About being more present and just loving every part of my kids for who they are, even though sometimes they're driving me crazy. So I'm working on that.
I'm sure you're not the only one. Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Absolutely.
Good girl. What would you say was a success that you had as a dancer?
For many, many years, I was 6th in North America, and I didn't really work that hard. And I kind of got by on my natural ability. And then I hit about 15, and I decided I don't want to get 6th anymore. I want to start, cracking that top 5 and doing better overseas and things like that. And I worked my butt off. And I got 3rd at the North Americans my first year. And that was super, super rewarding because I worked so hard for it. So it made it so special.
Yeah, that's excellent. I love that. Because I think it hits dancers at a different time, you know, a different age and all that kind of thing. But it's once we realise that it's up to us, basically, to take the advice. Yeah. How about success as a teacher?
You know, I always get a little bit emotional the first time I have a dancer do their first prelim championships. I know that's not, I mean, like we've had a team get second in the world. That was spectacular. We've had dancers second North Americans. I mean, those are really amazing moments too with Casey-O'Loughlin. But saying that, I just think it's so special the first time a little guy does their first prelim championships. I just think, you know, I taught this little baby how to do their 1, 2, 3s and their 7s and taught them how to treble. And here they are about to do their little set dance. I mean, that's always a special moment for me.
Oh, yeah. No, that's lovely. What has been a challenge for you as a dancer or as a teacher?
A challenge as a dancer for me was to deal with losing and not always winning. And I mean, but a good challenge. I think that as a child and as a teenager, that was a really good thing for me to learn how to lose like a lady and things like that as a dancer. As a teacher, I think the biggest lesson is how to understand, or I've learned how to try and understand the best I can of what every child wants to get out of Irish dancing, and then what their parents are looking to get Irish dancing, and try to collaborate to manage everyone's expectations. That's something I am learning to do because I find sometimes you can have kids that aren't as competitive as their parents, or vice versa. And so that's a continuous learning process that I'm trying to work on. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you have a pet peeve as an adjudicator?
Oh, I would say missing clicks. If you come and do like 5 front clicks and you miss every single one of them, that would be a big pet peeve.
You're toast.
I only say that probably because of the last fesh, everyone was missing all their clicks. So that's just like in my brain right now. And
right. That's your pet peeve for this week.
Right,
yeah.
Exactly. And I went back to my class and I was like, if you miss a click.
Yeah, that's it. You're out. Yeah. And then finally, any advice that you can give to aspiring Irish dancers, be it in competition or in the professional field?
Oh, I think that any insecurities that you have about yourself or your ability, you need to just fake it till you make it. I think you have to sell yourself. And when you walk out on the stage, whether it's a competitive stage or a performance stage, that you just morph into this super ego of yourself. And you just tell everyone in that audience that you're a superstar, whether or not you deeply believe it at the core. I think that's part of being a dancer, is getting into character and finding how you can emote to the entire audience.
Oh, that's lovely. I really like that, because I do think that we kind of don our character when we go on stage. So yeah, absolutely beautiful. Well, Cara, thank you so much for this. You're an absolute star. I've loved having this chat. And I will put the links to the summer camp and your school and all of that kind of thing in the show notes. So,
oh, wonderful.
Yeah, so thank you very much for coming on.
No, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode of the Irish Dance Podcast. If you haven't already, please go to iTunes or your favourite podcast app and subscribe to our podcast. That would be great. And if you are on iTunes, if you wouldn't mind please leaving a review, that would be awesome. Thank you very much. Please visit our website at theirishdancepodcast.com. There's also a survey there where you can fill in what you think about the show so far. So look forward to your feedback and have a great day. Bye-bye.